So if you're looking at this corn recipe and thinking that looks a little familiar, it is very similar to my Bacornian recipe. Now, I did that a couple of years ago, I think, and it's actually been a very popular video. People love making that. We love making it. This is just taking it up to the next level, to that ultimate level, by substituting something for the bacon that's in that, the buck in the Bacornian. This is gonna be pork belly. Pork belly is the basis of bacon, but we're not taking it from that state where it's been cured or smoked. We're gonna start with the fresh here, and we're gonna season it ourselves and fry it up. So this is about 3/4 of a pound of pork belly. Now we're gonna cut this down into littler pieces. We're gonna season it up and we're gonna put it in the refrigerator for about an hour. Then we'll start cooking up all the other ingredients. So I just wanna start by cutting this into slabs here, maybe 1/4 inch thick. You can go as small as you want. You can get a super fine dice on that, go ahead. And when we do cook this in the pan, you could make it as crispy as you want, or if you want to keep it a little bit AFS, acceptable floppy state, like I like my bacon, you could. And if you're doing this, it helps if the pork belly is really cold. This is almost a little bit frozen. It helps cut it, and it doesn't get quite as mushy as you cut it. So if you've got your piece of pork belly, you might want to throw it in the freezer for, say, 30 minutes to help it firm up. Now I'm just going to take these pieces like this, and I'm going to cut them lengthwise. I'll make it a little easier to get my smaller pieces. And after I do that, straight across. Will get a little slippery and mushy here as it starts to warm up. Just take your time. Again, cut it lengthwise first, and then across. So here are our cut up pork belly pieces in our bowl here. Now for seasoning, you can do anything you want. You could use your favorite barbecue rub, you could just use salt and pepper. It's whatever flavor you want to bring to the finished dish. And for me, I'm going to be using Texas rib grind from Chicken Fried Barbecue. It's a really good rub, but again, pick your favorite rub. Or no rub at all, just salt and pepper. So we're just going to get our seasoning on here and toss everybody around to get to know each other. Also helps separate these pieces, get a good coating on them. Bring all those pieces from the bottom up to the top. And these are all very cold, which is good. This is what I want right now, because I don't want that fat to start sort of mushing in here. I want to get the rub on it first. That's why it's really helpful if you can freeze this for about 30 minutes before you cut it. Let's get in here now and get everybody a really good massage. All right, I'm happy with this. I'm gonna cover this with plastic wrap and it's gonna go in the refrigerator for an hour. And then we're gonna get on to making and assembling our corn. So our seasoned pork belly pieces have been hanging out in the refrigerator for an hour, and now it's time to cook those up and get the rest of our ingredients in our skillet here. Now I'm using my induction burner here, so this is all easier to see. And there's a little fan with it, so you might hear some fan noise, and you're gonna hear some sizzling at some point too. I'm gonna start this on sort of a low, medium, low temperature. I don't wanna really crisp this up fast. So on this is maybe about power level 3. On a burner, it would be medium low. And our goal here at this point with these pork belly pieces is just to get these starting to cook, to get them to render out some of their fat, because we don't want to add any more fat if we don't have to. If for some reason you have a piece of pork belly where a lot of the fat's been trimmed off and you don't have much fat rendering out, you could add maybe a tablespoon of butter of this to bring some more fat in. And if I need to add some butter, I will, but hopefully this will be enough of that fat rendering from this pork belly. And as it starts to sizzle a bit, give it a stir. Remember, we don't want the heat too high on this. We're not looking to crisp this up really fast or burn it or anything. But we do have to make sure to cook this through. This is not some pre-cooked pork belly. And that is something you could use here. Let's say you smoked a pork belly. You could take about 3/4 of a pound of that, chop it up, throw it in here. Basically, you'd just be reheating it and rendering some of the fat out, and you wouldn't have to cook it as much, but we do need to fully cook this. So our pork belly has been going for about 5 minutes here. You can see we've got nice color on it. And it's similar to bacon. This is the basis of bacon. By this point, it should be fully cooked. You can always temp it, but we're still gonna be cooking here. We're gonna be adding more ingredients and it's gonna cook for a little longer with those, so we'll be good. And you see all this nice brown stuff in the bottom? That's flavor, that's what we want. So as you move the pork belly pieces around, scrape that up so that when we add our other ingredients, that gets absorbed. Our next ingredient here is 1 medium shallot that's been sort of finely chopped. Just gonna stir that around in here to help that soften up. Now in the sister dish to this, Becornian, there is onion. That's the last of Becornian. But we're using shallot here so that we don't overdo that oniony flavor with the addition of the pork belly. I want the pork belly to sort of shine here. And now we're gonna add 32 ounces of corn. This is a bag of frozen corn. You could use fresh corn. 32 ounces is what we're going with here. And honestly, using frozen corn works fine. That's what I usually use. And this has been sitting out for probably 20 minutes, so it's a little bit thawed. And we're just gonna kind of stir this in here with the pork belly. And we're gonna put a lid on this and let this go for about 5 minutes just to help that corn really start to cook and come up to temp. All right, we've been going about 5 minutes covered here. Let's go ahead and take a look and get the rest of our ingredients in here. Got a lot of good color here. You can see all the stuff coming up off the bottom. That's what we want. All that fond, all those brown bits, everything coming up here. To this now, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of kosher salt and a teaspoon of a coarsely ground black pepper. Also gonna add 3 green onions that I've chopped right down to the whites, so not all the way down to the very end. Let's go ahead and stir everybody in here now. Get those seasonings distributed, those green onions mixed in. Let's do a quick check of our seasoning, see if we need to add any more salt or pepper. A little more salt. Just maybe a couple twists on the grinder here, and that should be good. And remember, you can adjust any of these seasonings you want. If you don't like that much pepper, don't put that much pepper in or any at all. But it does need a little salt. Now I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of some crushed candied pecans. You can usually find these in any grocery store. I got these at my local Trader Joe's, but I've seen them lots of places. They're just pecans that are candied. And you can use other nuts if you want, walnuts, anything like that, or leave it out completely. This gives some nice texture to things and a little sweetness too. The corn's sweet, but these candied nuts are on a different sort of level. And that's looking good. Now we're gonna let this go for another, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes just to get a little bit warmer. And then we're gonna plate some up and garnish it. I'm gonna garnish this with some whole pieces of candied pecans. On top here. And put as many as you want. Make a design. And I just want to sprinkle a little bit of fresh parsley here on top. Always a nice little addition. And there we have it. A variation on my Becornian dish. This is quite a bit different with that pork belly with the addition of the nuts and everything. It's looking fantastic. I'm gonna get a little dish and have a taste. Just gonna get a little bit with some nuts and everything. Don't need a lot here. Gotta save some for everybody. Got a little bit of everything here. Some corn, some pork belly, some pecan. Let's see. That is fantastic. It's peppery. I love pepper. I've said that many times in videos. If you're not someone who likes a real peppery bite, cut the pepper in half. Maybe go 1/2 teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon. I just love that peppery bite. With something like corn, it's perfect. The richness of that pork belly, amazing. And again, if you have some smoked pork belly that you want to use in this, go ahead and do that. Just saute it up the same way. It won't take as long to cook because it's already pre-cooked. But these ingredients here, they do make the ultimate corn.